Alright, everybody out there in internet land, it's that time again to break down The Walking Dead. This episode is Dead Weight. And it's yet again another governor-centric episode. When we last saw the governor, he was hanging out with some dead walkers with Megan, his new daughter, pretty much. And Martinez is there, saves the day, pulls Megan out of the pit, and pulls the governor out as well. He stays with the governor's new alias of Brian. You know, saying that the governor is kind of a changed man. He even mentions that if he wasn't with Megan, he wouldn't have pulled him out of the pit. Since the last time we saw the governor, wasn't exactly looking too good. So the governor's kind of starting over. You know, you've seen in the previous episode the governor turning a new leaf and looking like he's kind of becoming that family man, or just becoming that person that he was kind of at the first time. Around pretty much what you would assume when he first founded Woodbury. If you remember the journal that Michonne had found earlier, and he had a plan laid out for Woodbury until Penny died, and then you look at his journal, it's nothing but just like hash marks where he started pretty much going crazy. So anyway, it's looking like he's picking up where he left off. You know, he's gonna try and do things right this time. He's very averse to talking about himself throughout this whole episode. You know, everyone's sharing their stories. You know, Martinez is there with the two brothers, Mitch and Pete, and they're pretty much his right and left-hand man, I guess, and they're both former Army guys. One of them drives a tank, and literally, like, the tank is there on the perimeter, still fully functional and intact. And the governor's, you know, he's kind of settling in, working there, and, you know, he assumes the position of Martinez's right-hand man. And at the time, it appears that things are going to go good. And then Martinez he invites him to come shoot some golf balls with him, or hit some golf balls, just out in the wilderness. And he's like, "Hey, Governor, I have an idea. You know, how about we share the crowd? You know, you can help me run this place." And the governor's like, "I got a better idea." And so he cracks at the back of the skull with a golf club and drags him into the pit of walkers and just lets them rip out his flesh. And pretty much that's the end of Martinez. Just when it looked like he was going to be relevant into the walker pits. So basically, the governor, and as he's holding him in there in the pit, he's like, I don't want it. I don't want this responsibility. At least that's the way I interpreted it. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be a leader anymore, because he saw what happened with Woodbury. So one of the brothers, I believe it was Mitch. No, it was Pete. Pete takes the mantle and he's like, "Hey, I'm in charge now. This is the Pete-tatorship." So later on, they're going on a run with the governor, and they discover a camp. And Mitch and Pete are arguing about whether or not they should attack the camp or if they should just leave them, because if they should bring them in. They're like, "We got too many mouths to feed. We can't bring these people in." But at the same time, Pete has a crisis of conscience. He's like, "I don't want to hurt people for nothing." Mitch is like, "Let's take the stuff." They decide not to take it. Later on, the camp gets attacked. Everyone's killed. The supplies are taken anyway, so Mitch is all pissed off. Like, "Hey, man, those could have been our supplies. These people were going to die anyway. At least we would have made off better." So, later on, the governor decides to pay a visit to good old Pete. And he's like, "Hey, buddy, got something for you." And, he pretty much brought him the gift of death and stabs him in the side, he could have just slit his throat and given him like a quick death, but no, he stabs him multiple times in the side and then strangles him to finish the job. And later on, you find his dead body in a lake, chained, or not his dead body, but his reanimated corpse coming back as a walker, chained to the bottom of the lake. And he's swimming up, so it's almost like the governor has his own walker head aquarium again. But this time, it's, he's got the whole body. So he goes to Mitch right afterwards, has his gun out. He's threatening him, obviously, because he has his gun pointed towards him, at the same time being very friendly. He's like, "You have the mentality that we need to survive. We really should have robbed those people, and that's what we should have done." So he just tells him, "You're a survivor, I'm a survivor. We got to do what we need to do to survive." And just to backtrack, this is prompted from earlier. He's in the camp. He was initially going to try and leave the camp because he felt like it wasn't going to be safe, and they weren't able to escape because there are all these walkers that were kind of crawling around. I don't know if they all were all had their legs broken, if they were sunken in some type of quicksand or something. But either way, they were just just coming towards them. I really think he probably could have killed all of them. I mean, they weren't moving all that quickly. But he erred on the side of caution, and they went back to the camp. And later on, Megan gets attacked by a walker. Tara attempts to save her, ends up ripping off the walker's foot in the process, and the governor saves the day, shoots the walker in the head, saves Megan. He realizes, like, no, like, not again. I'm not losing my daughter again, so I gotta do things differently this time. So anyway, so he pretty much assumes his old role. I mean, the governor couldn't stay a good guy for very long. It's almost like the first chance that other, like, alpha males are introduced into the environment, like, he has to dominate and kill all of them, you know, like he did previously with all the army guys. And ironically, yet again, killing more army guys. So the governor's pretty much back, and he decides that they can't stay in this camp that's completely unprotected, where walkers can just randomly wander in. So he's like, oh, but I know a place. Got some buddies over here. So he drives to the prison, checking it out. You know, he's watching Carl and Rick, I guess, be farmers, whatever they're doing. And then he sees Daryl and Michonne, and, you know, he's got his eye on her, draws his gun, points it at her, and, you know, obviously he's formulating the plan to take the prison by force, to have his people move in there. But I still think it's ironic, because he still could have just not burned Woodbury, and that would have worked too. But obviously, the governor's not exactly, I mean, he's rational to a point, but I would say his psychopathy outranks his rationality a little bit sometimes. But anyway, overall it was a good episode. I thought it was, I don't know, it just seemed like the writing was a little bit forced in certain points. Mainly, he kills Martinez for kind of offering him the leadership position, and just to, like, 2 scenes later be like, yeah, I'm actually going to kill this guy so I can become leader. It seemed kind of unnecessary, and I don't know, it seemed like it just kind of jumped from one thought to the next. But at the same time, the governor is a little bit insane. He didn't massacre, but, like, a dozen or so people just months prior to this event, so maybe it didn't have to make sense. Regardless, I still felt like that was a little bit forced. But I mean, obviously they got to kill Martinez off somehow, and at least he got to death. Unlike Schumpert, yeah, that guy. Unlike Schumpert, who just Martinez was like, yeah, there's just no coming back for some people after what they witnessed. You know, like seeing a bunch of people massacred by their employer. Well, not really employer, but boss, head honcho, if you will, governor, if you will. So anyway, so at least he got a death scene. That guy there is like, yeah, we're not even going to pay you your parents' fee to die in this episode. Just get out of here. So at least Martinez got to die, got to do something. You got to know a little bit more of his personality. Season 3, he kind of came off as a dick when, you know, him and Daryl kind of bumped heads at one point. But in this instance, you kind of got to see, you know, he's just a regular guy like everybody else. He actually seems like a decent person. So obviously he had to die. You know, can't have decent folk running around outside of the prison people. So that's pretty much it. That's Dead Weight. I thought it was a good episode, a little weak in some areas. But ultimately, the governor's back, and now we know why he was checking out the campsite, or checking out the prison. And it's likely that, yeah, now I'm thinking, yeah, it probably was him with those rats trying to weaken their defenses before he struck. Especially considering how badly things went last time, it seems like he might be a little bit more devious in his scheming this time around. But yeah, that's it. As always, you can go to pitwar.com, that's PTWOR, or go to punchingthewallsofreality.com. Same website. Like the video if you like it, leave some comments. If you really enjoyed it, share it with your friends. I'd love to get your opinion, and, you know, just spread it out. And, you know, obviously I would like to increase production values as I continue to do these. And that is pretty much it. So thanks for watching. See you next week for the half-season finale. I believe so, because that'll be episode 8. I don't know. I just work here. See you next week.